somewhere else, but this is where we found ourselves. Welcome to the local show. People you work with, people you know.
Welcome to another edition of the Local Show here on GrassRoots Community Network. I'm Erik, Skarvan, your host. Thanks, guys, for tuning in this week. Where each week here in Aspen, Colorado, we feature inspirational locals. And what I mean by that is Roaring Fork Valley residents pursuing their dreams, having success, and sharing that with you guys. So, hey, if you want to pursue your dreams, hopefully we'll help share the keys to the kingdom. I've got a guy that's been successful in several realms. His name is Robbie Levin. Welcome back to the show, Robbie.
Thank you.
Variety is the spice is the name of our show today, Robbie, because you've had several careers, been successful in pretty much all of them. But let's start with something fun, because we talked about this last week on a bike ride, and you and I had a fun spin up to Ashcroft. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed that, kind of at the head of the Castle Creek Valley, or what I like to say, into the land of castles. And so thanks for the ride.
Well, thank you. It was fun. Yeah,
did you have a good time?
Oh, great time, yeah.
So what is it about kind of just, we're going to talk about spinning and different things, related to cycling, but what is it at the core that you love most about cycling? Because you've been a long-time cyclist. And what's the most fun or what's the most rewarding part of cycling?
This is my 60th year on a race bike.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I can never put a finger on it, but it's probably one of the only things I've done in my life that I've never gotten bored with, ever, even slightly, and I've never ever had to get myself motivated to get on the bike. And I think it's just being out there, And I think you become kind of one with your bicycle, especially when you've been riding that many years and done hundreds and hundreds of thousands of miles on the bike. And I just don't think about it, I put on my music and I ride.
So part of it's like just being in the great outdoors and kind of the nature connection, the aesthetics, the beauty.
I think there's so much freedom in being detached from life. And, I've always been kind of an A-type personality in business and always been involved very heavily in whatever industry that I've been in. And on the bike, it's totally different. You're detached. That stuff doesn't exist.
Right.
You're just not thinking about the problems. And I tend to create and come up with ideas when I'm on the bicycle, rather than dwell on solving problems with the day-to-day operations of the business. When I was a musician, I rode. And I started riding around the same time I started playing music.
Okay.
When I was 12 is when I got my first race bike. It was when I was 12. I had a one-speed.
Meaning like a road bike.
No, this is a real road race bike. Yeah. I bought my first
high-performance road bike.
It's an Italia from Italy, all camping components, a true race bike. And that's when I started doing the big miles. And even as a kid, I was, go out on a Saturday and do 50, 60 miles on a Saturday, which for a 12-year-old kid, that's a lot of miles.
It's huge.
It's nothing compared to what happened when I got into ultramarathon cycling and started really doing the big miles, 400 or 500 miles a week. But it still created the same effect. And it was just I've always looked forward to just getting on the bike.
Right. And so there's an element of escapism, right? You talked about the problems and, we get bogged down with, so much stuff in our heads and, real world problems and issues and stress. And some of it's escapism. But I can really relate to that. The freedom also of just the movement out in the outdoors on a bike. And then the other thing I really relate to is some of my best ideas come out on the bike. Right? You've got the circulation going through the brain. Yeah. You're away from the distractions. So that's a beautiful thing, right? It kind of like...
And whatever you get on the bike with, if it's an issue and there's stress, when you're done with your ride, it's gone.
Right.
That's part of it too, I think.
Right. And for me too, it's just kind of like Klaus talks about this with skiing, the wind in your face, kind of the physical dynamics. That you feel speed. And like Klaus likes to talk about, didn't you have that feeling of 0 G's when you go off a jump? There's like a physical dynamic, right? Of exhilaration.
Yeah, going fast.
Well, that's why I was like, when I started in the 80s, I started on a mountain bike. And I was kind of like, oh, road bikers, look at those weenies. They're wearing like Lycra and what a bunch of, road weenies and stuff. And then when I tried it and I started going twice as fast as my mountain bike, I was like, okay, I'm starting to kind of get this, starting to feel it. And then when I started to descend off Independence Pass, I was like, okay, now I really get it. This is really fast, really smooth, really dynamic. Cornering, carving a turn on a corner on a road bike and leaning in like that is super dynamic.
Yeah. We started very aggressive. At 12, 13 years old, I was riding in the Santa Cruz Mountains because I grew up in San Jose. And so we would be riding in Santa Cruz, Los Gatos, Saratoga, and all of those areas.
Yeah.
And speed was real important to us back then.
Yeah.
Passing cars was a big deal.
It's kind of intoxicating.
on curvy roads, passing cars.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, Robbie, because we got to get to the story, the real story of spinning and how that started, which is one of the central themes of the show. So we're going to take our only break of the show, guys. I do want to thank our summer underwriters who make these kinds of shows happen. Haiti Children, Independence Pass Foundation, Klug Properties, Paradise Bakery, Picken County Landfill, White River Overland. We'll have Scott on the show next week from White River Overland, and Sundog Athletics, near and dear to my heart. Guys, don't go away. We're only going to be gone for a couple minutes. We're going to talk about the real story of spinning, the music industry, fashion industry, so much more. Don't go away. The Independence Pass Foundation, for 32 years, restoring and protecting the ecological, historical, and aesthetic integrity of Independence Pass. To learn more, independencepass.org.
I'm so passionate about this community. I absolutely love living here and raising my family here. It gives me a lot of pride to share this with my friends and my clients and help them achieve their dreams of owning an Aspen snowmass and enjoying this incredible lifestyle.
White River Overland specializes in camper van upfitting and overland outfitting. Catering to mountain dwellers and outdoor enthusiasts, many of WRO's builds are purpose-driven to facilitate and enhance skiing, cycling, camping, climbing, and river adventures. Nestled in the White River National Forest, close to the deserts of western Colorado and Utah, WRO also rents camper vans and accessories. More at whiteriveroverland.com. Celebrating their 25th anniversary, Sundog Athletics is your opportunity to experience Aspen's most amazing adventure locations and gain new skills to increase your safety, performance, and enjoyment while mountain biking, road biking, hiking, and paddling on Aspen's exclusive canoeing adventure. Like Sundog Athletics on Facebook for fresh adventure updates.
Welcome to the local show. People you work with, people you know.
Thanks for sticking with us here on the Local Show, guys, where we feature inspirational locals from the Roaring Fork Valley each week. And we've got Robbie Levin back in the house. You had appeared, what, about 2 years ago? Last August. Wow, yeah. Okay. And we talked a little bit about this on the last show, about the real story behind spinning. Because as a certified spinning instructor myself, we were always told, oh, Johnny G, this guy Johnny G was the innovator, this dynamic individual, very charismatic. And you'd see they showed some video of Johnny G, like in our training and all this stuff. And just maybe start with that. Like, how did you actually met Johnny? And he was living in your home for a while, correct?
Yeah, I was Johnny's sponsor for Race Across America 1987, 1989, and I trained with him 87, 88, and 89. He was living in my house after he separated from his wife.
Okay.
During training. He was living with us, and I don't know, I told the story before, but the documentary that I just completed doing, that's in the short film festival circuit, and we've either won or been, you know, finalists on 13 different film festivals now in major cities, you know, Paris, Vancouver, London, Phoenix, San Francisco, Madrid, a bunch of big film festivals.
Congratulations on that.
It's going great, but that we will put up on the internet, on YouTube, once the film festival circuit's over, which is, for us, will be in the next couple of months.
Okay.
And the story will be there with all the details. But, you know, in a nutshell, I was sponsoring Johnny. I was on a training ride with him and fell and broke my femur. And I had 2 pins in my femur, and I couldn't go out on the road because the pins were sticking out, you know, so it could take them out eventually.
Wow.
And I was doing 3 to 5 hours a day on a stationary bike, on an old Schwinn DX900, which pretty much is the predecessor of the studio spin bikes.
Okay.
And came up with the idea to do aerobics classes on a bike, because the aerobics classes were so big back then.
Right.
And in my house, I took my karate dojo and I turned it into a spin studio and got a whole bunch of bikes and started running spin classes. Johnny was living in the house with me, and we did the spin classes together. And this is 1987. And I shot a video, produced a video in 1987 that Johnny and I are in the video together with all these people that were doing our spin classes. And that's how spinning got started. Unfortunately, in 1989, after I had already started my move to Utah, Johnny took credit for it, and we've got him in the documentary on tape saying that he created spinning in 1989, right, 2 years after I came up with the idea. So the documentary is pretty entertaining.
We've got a trailer. We're going to show that. This is the trailer for Robbie's documentary, now award-winning documentary on the circuit, for the story of spinning. So we're going to check out that trailer next.
In 1989, a South African cyclist claimed that he invented spinning. In fact, it was developed in 1987 by his friend and benefactor.
And when I say, oh yeah, my dad invented spinning, you get really funny looks.
How one man's love for cycling created a multi-billion-dollar industry.
I had met this guy from South Africa.
My father decided to fully sponsor Johnny G in this race.
Robbie had hired a film crew.
We made a video.
We started incorporating heart monitors.
This was our family legacy.
Revealed for the first time the story of spinning. Time to set the record straight.
Whatever, you know, it's what are we gonna do?
So some amazing things there, including the mullet hairstyles. But you guys riding in your dojo, your former dojo in your home, you know, rocking out this spin class that you came up with. And, you know, I guess, you know, people can see this, you know, the documentary, when it, like you say, when it comes up on YouTube, and see the truth for themselves. But I guess, what do you hope that comes out of this, besides the truth, right?
That's, you know,
that's pretty much it. You just want the truth to be told.
Yeah, just want the story to be told.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
I'm not looking for any money or any even recognition. I just want the truth out there.
Right. Which speaks, you know, to your character, I have to say, you know, especially in today's society where it's all about, you know, I want to get money from that. I want to extract from that. And then that would be very right, you know, and righteous in this case. But you really just kind of want the truth to be out there. You know, you had this amazing idea. You brought people in. You started training them. And then someone kind of takes it and literally runs or rides with it, with the idea. So we're going to help get that truth out. You also had you mentioned career in fashion industry. Can you tell us a little bit about that fashion industry career?
Yeah, after 15 years as a professional musician, I accidentally got into the fashion industry. It was completely, you know, unplanned. I met a guy who was doing custom airbrush clothing for rock musicians. And I started wearing the clothes on stage, and people started flipping out, you know, wanting to buy the clothes. So I got involved with him, and we started in my garage, and we started painting clothes, and it turned into a full-blown fashion company, which I did that for 18 years. And
what was the name of the company?
Melrose.
Okay.
And we sold the company to a Fortune 500 company out of St. Louis after 13 years, and then I continued to run the company with my partner for another 5 years. So I spent 18 years doing that. The company was, when I left, we were the 7th largest clothing manufacturer on the West Coast of the United States.
Wow.
And we sold to every single retailer in the United States, from Neiman Marcus all the way down to Walmart. And we had different lines for different types of stores. But we were well known in the industry.
What were the main keys to that success? Because I mean, that's incredible success in a relatively short time frame.
Not giving up, just staying at it, because there were times when you just thought you weren't going to make it.
I can't go anymore.
You
yeah,
know,
but you somehow.
And we just kept pushing. And my partner and I, we were tight. We were really close, and we just wouldn't give up.
How do you do that though? Like, do you just how do you push forward through those super tough times? Because we all have those in our life, but the successful people know how to go through that. They know how to actually use it to their advantage.
I mean, we would put in 100+ hour weeks, and we just wouldn't.
You're just working your butts off.
Yeah, we just would not give up.
And you guys were supporting each other then, and kind of motivating each other.
Yeah, and eventually we got to the point where we knew the formula, and we became experienced enough that we got it. And then instead of we did 5 lines a year. Every year we had to design 5 different lines.
Wow.
And so, you know, you'd have 3 good ones and a bad one and a mediocre one, and then you start to learn the formulas, and you start to learn how to work with the industry, and you start to learn how to work with the trends. And you know, and we had more money to travel and spend more time in Europe, and really doing a lot of research and development. And then it was just like, then every line was good. And after I think 5 or 6 years, we really got the formula down, and then it was just grow at that point.
Okay. And we had touched on the music, part of your music career, and it was overlapping, you know, with like the fashion career. And I want to toss to, you know, while we still have some time, toss to this really fun video. People may remember Rick Springfield, and especially that song Jesse's Girl. We've got a little clip of Rick and you guys together.
This is a reunion concert we did 10 years ago.
Okay, so we're going to check that out here next.
And this guy is actually richer than me. Robbie Levin is an amazing guy, great humanitarian, and he's done. When I was paying Robbie $100 a gig to be in my band back in 1975, he was selling custom T-shirts out of his garage and making $50 grand a month. And he's gone on and done better than that. On bass, Robbie Levin.
I love that because I mean it's for so many ways, you know. I mean, I love that in so many ways because, you know, I grew up in that era, you know, Rick Springfield, you know, and you guys were playing music together, and you guys had your own band, and I liked how he also referred to we're making more money, you know, like designing T-shirts in your garage. He made some comment, Rick did, about that. So kind of the music thing, like tell us a little bit about that part of your life and that music career.
Well, I started playing music when I was 12, and then by the time I was 14, at that time I was playing folk music and then bluegrass. We were actually getting paid to do like hootenannies and things like that when I was 14 years old.
That's crazy.
And then by the time I was 15, all of the folk bluegrass musicians that we were playing with in the Bay Area, guys like, you know, Garcia and Jerry Cowken and Paul Kantner from the Airplane, and all those musicians moved into rock and roll. So we moved into rock and roll, and we started a rock band. In fact, the first rock band I was in was Skip Spence, who was the original drummer from the Jefferson Airplane.
Wow.
And then my brother and I started our own band, and by 68 we had a contract, well actually 67 we had a contract with Capitol Records, and we did 2 albums with Capitol Records. We had a #1 selling hit record on our first album that was, I think it was #1 in 32 countries.
What was that called?
I Love You. It was
Okay.
really big in 1968.
Okay, I remember that
It
now.
was #1 in every market in the United States. And so we did 2 albums with Capitol Records, and then we changed labels and went to Paramount. We did 1 album with Paramount Records, and then the band kind of evolved. The musicianship got better and better. I got new players and changed the name in '71 to Rocking Horse. And
Okay.
Rocking Horse was kind of an R&B, kind of rock R&B band. We did 2 albums with RCA Records.
Wow.
With Rocking Horse. So I did 5 albums with my band, and then I started the clothing company, and I got out of the clothing company. I mean, I got out of the music industry. It was just doing clothing, and I about 6 months into it, somebody said, "Hey, Rick Springfield's auditioning bass players." And I'd always had my own band. I never auditioned for anything. So I went to the audition. There's like 50 bass players.
Oh my God.
And I got the gig, So then I played. So while I was doing in the early, growing stages of the clothing company, I was playing with Rick. We were going on the road, and I played with Rick for about 2.5 years. And then the company just got so big I couldn't do anything else.
So cycling, including the Race Across America, which is like the craziest bike race, fashion industry, music industry. We didn't even have time to talk about your development of Sorrel River Ranch outside of Moab, but we did talk about that the last time you appeared. I guess kind of like, is it like boredom or more challenge, or you've had all these twists and turns in your life and your careers? Like, what is it? Is it just this insatiable appetite for more? Variety? Is it the spice? Or
it was just, creating, whether it's music or fashion or creating anything, because I've done a lot of construction too, and I did a lot of building for our businesses, and then with the resort I built everything. I designed everything and built everything at the resort. But it was, I think it's just, when I had the breaks and I sold my clothing company, I thought I was going to retire, but it was really boring. So I really wanted to build a resort. I always thought about that, so I just decided to do it, and worked out really well. I was really lucky. Then that was a 15-year project.
Wow.
So really, I've only had 3 jobs.
So as we close in just a couple more seconds, what are a couple other keys of to success that you'd like to share with our viewers today? Because I mean, you've been successful in all these realms, and just a couple other things. Talk about tenacity and hard work, and
I mean, the only thing I can attribute it to is being willing to really work hard.
Yeah.
I don't really attribute my success to any special talents I have. I think it's just paying attention and be willing to know that you don't know that much, even if you think you do, and to find the right mentors to help teach you. And I had mentors in the clothing industry. I had mentors in the music industry for sure. I had mentors when I got into the clothing industry, people that had been in the industry that I would just let me pick their brain, and I would assume that I didn't know much and try to learn it from people that had done it. And then when I got into the hospitality industry, I had a mentor that was great, that talked me through things that would have taken me so much longer to learn than doing it myself.
Did you have fun on the show today, buddy?
Yeah, it's great. Thanks.
I wish we had more
Too
time.
Short.
I know. I wish we had more time, but I hope you enjoyed the time that we did have.
Yeah.
I got some parting gifts for you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Robbie Levin. So awesome to share some of your story. And thank you guys above all for watching this week on The Local Show. And I go like this. Like I just won a race. The Independence Pass Foundation. For 32 years, restoring and protecting the ecological, historical, and aesthetic integrity of Independence Pass. To learn more, independencepass.org.
I'm so passionate about this community. I absolutely love living here and raising my family here. It gives me a lot of pride to share this with my friends and my clients and help them achieve their their dreams of owning an Aspen snowmass and enjoying this incredible lifestyle.
White River Overland specializes in camper van upfitting and overland outfitting. Catering to mountain dwellers and outdoor enthusiasts, many of WRO's builds are purpose-driven to facilitate and enhance skiing, cycling, camping, climbing, and river adventures. Nestled in the White River National Forest, close to the deserts of western Colorado and Utah, WRO also rents camper vans and accessories. More at whiteriveroverland.com. Celebrating their 25th anniversary, Sundog Athletics is your opportunity to experience Aspen's most amazing adventure locations and gain new skills to increase your safety, performance, and enjoyment while mountain biking, road biking, hiking, and paddling on Aspen's exclusive canoeing adventure. Like Sundog Athletics on Facebook for fresh adventure updates.
Welcome to